What's up, guys? Project Renaissance Man, episode 22. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is empowerment through accountability. And where this empowerment comes from in being accountable is that we are taking control. We are owning our mistakes and choosing to recognize that we messed up and that we're willing to fix those things. And so what I want to do today is I want to share with you first off how important it is to be accountable, why it's important, and then I'm going to go into some pointers that I want to share that are going to help you to become more accountable and to practice accountability and just make it a mainstay in your life so that it's going to help with your transformation as an individual, into a Renaissance man, Renaissance woman. The very first thing is opposite of being accountable is casting the blame, throwing it onto somebody else or something else. It's so easy for us to get into that where things go wrong in our lives and we look for somebody else to blame for it. Or we look at a certain situation and say it's because of this. And there are rogue waves of misfortune that just come through our lives, surprisingly. And we're taken by surprise. And, it happens, But if we get used to blaming, we just fortify ourselves inside of excuses. And although it may seem easier to cast the blame onto somebody else, it's doing us a great disservice, because by throwing the blame onto other people or other things, we're basically taking power away from ourselves and surrendering it. We're saying this wouldn't have happened if this person, who I'm basically saying had control over the situation, did it, or if this circumstance that is in control of the situation did it. So that's why it's so important for us to say, no, I'm in control, and maybe a rogue wave of misfortune did hit me, but I'm going to do something to fix it. I'm not going to just say it was because of that and then expect things to just all of a sudden get better and improve. It's just not the way life works. You got to take action. And so the 3 pointers I want to give you, I'm going to start off with them now. The very first one is a fundamental pointer. It's identify the problem and then ask yourself what steps are required for you to fix the problem, to find resolution. But yeah, it's very important to identify it. A lot of us, we push it off. Like I said, especially if we're blamers, we'll take it and we'll just say that this caused it and then act like we're free of it. But we're really not. We still got to fix that problem, and by throwing it onto something else, that does not fix the problem. Pinning something else with whatever happened doesn't make things okay again or better. So we need to identify what that problem is, and then we need to ask ourselves, what steps do I need to take to fix this? And then the greatest step of all is to execute these things. And sometimes we're going to be a little hesitant. We may be fearful, but that's where courage comes in, and we got to push ourselves through it, because it's extremely rewarding once we execute it. And that feeling of empowerment, of knowing that we are in control, that we're in the driver's seat, is great. It's an incredible feeling. And so it's actually addicting too. The more we do this, the easier it becomes, and it never ceases to be less or more gratifying. It's always gratifying. It feels wonderful. Okay, so the next pointer I got for you guys is to own your mistakes, but don't be hypercritical about the mistakes you made. We're all human. We're all imperfect. We make errors. It's just going to happen. Even the people with the best judgment make bad errors sometimes. And, there are a lot of circumstantial things, like I said. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging if it's circumstantial, but we just got to remember not to get into the practice of blaming. So if we could just recognize it as something as such and then deal with it, with the way that I had mentioned, the steps and identifying it. But yes, we want to be sure that we're not being hypercritical, because if we're hypercritical, we're going to just put ourselves down, we're going to shame ourselves, we're going to rip ourselves apart, and then we won't even be, our morale is going to be so low, we're not even going to feel worthy of doing anything for ourselves to better our situations. So you're just digging yourself a deeper hole. And that's why it's important to not be, I'm very seldomly even critical. Like, I'll just look at my mistake and be like, damn, I fucked up, and then go on and fix it. I'll say, yeah, I did that, and I'll fix it. That's the way you do it, and leave it at that. It's that simple. And then the last pointer I have for you guys is venting does have a place. It really does. It helps. But you don't want to, first of all, you don't want to leave it at venting. Like I said, you want to take action, identify, look at what steps are necessary, and then execute. But there's nothing wrong with venting. Sometimes it's good to have a confidant, somebody that's going to, if you're going to pick somebody, make sure it's somebody who's trustworthy, proactive, and somebody who is going to look at it from an outside perspective and isn't going to be biased just because you're a close friend or not. If close friends, they look out for our best interest. They don't look out for what's popular or what we want all the time. They're looking out for what they think is going to benefit us the best. And so that's why it's important to be very selective when choosing somebody who you're going to vent to. Like I said, you want somebody who's going to be trustworthy, proactive, and make sure that they're looking out for you, and not something you want, or being lenient, where if you're very insistent on what you desire, they're not going to be swayed. They're going to be firm with their advice, what they're giving you. So but then, like I said, you don't want to leave it at venting, because it doesn't end there. You can talk all you want to this person, but at the end of the day, you really do got to go to the source and address your issue. Whether that be a supervisor, somebody at work that's giving you issues, a neighbor next door that you're having a hard time with, whatever it is, you got to confront it. And that's life. It's not going to go away, because we want it to go away, or we can't bitch it away. We can't complain it away. We got to take action. So those are my pointers for you guys. If you guys feel this video has benefited you and you have enjoyed watching it, please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give me a like. And I will see you all on Saturday. Later.